talking again with my friend, artist Ida Murad, we were talking about manifestation, which is certainly part of the art process. And I wanted to take that a little further. You were talking about expressions and manifestation, and I wanted to focus on the notion of knowing your intentions when you do these things, how you get those clear and sorted out.
Yes. So we're always walking in life and doing everything, whether we're awake or we're not awake, meaning we're conscious or not conscious of what we're doing. And my question goes to who's in the driver's seat? Because sometimes we have our 7-year-old self actually in the driver's seat who has not healed from an experience at 7 years old.
Or do we have our 2-year-old in the driver's seat who's saying, no,
exactly, and saying, I refuse to go back here because last time we tried it, we got hurt. So we could say, let's just go back to this topic of love. We want to manifest love. So our intention is it's not about the partnership, but it's about a feeling, right, that we want to foster, which is love, simply, right? And saying
simply
this,
put,
yeah.
Yes.
So let's go deeper into resistance. Like sometimes we may be clear on our intention, but stay surface level. And we wonder, why hasn't the intention turned into physical manifestation? And that goes to roadblocks. Let's talk about a few examples. So one person could be resistant, whether consciously or subconsciously, to love because they're hurt. They're afraid to get hurt again. They have trauma from childhood that they don't want to be fully seen. So they subconsciously keep people at a distance and they say, she's just not the one, or he's just not the one, because in fact, there's no one because they're not home.
Right. I don't want to be vulnerable to anyone.
To anyone.
Right.
But then they still feel lack because
Of
they
course.
want partnership. And they keep saying, I want love. But they're not really thirsty enough to do the work. So we can talk all about intention, we can be clear, but it means very little if we don't look inside and do the work. And
are you talking about things like giving yourself permission?
yes, so that's another topic of let's say you meet this perfect partner, and in first maybe hours or first day you're like, this is wonderful, I love it, and then internal alarms go off. Like, no, this is too good to be true. There must be a catch. So let's get curious about that voice. Why can't we just be united with our perfect partner? And perfect is relative to
all good questions. Yeah.
So then I get curious there as to why don't you give yourself permission to get what you want? Where does that voice come from of it's too good to be true, or I'm not worth it, or I'm not good enough, or
it's risky.
It's risky. So you know what? Before she leaves, I'm going to leave. Or before he leaves, I'm going to leave. And too often that happens. And again, I emphasize whether consciously or subconsciously. So I in my method, I think of dreaming as a muscle. To really imagine the kind of life you could live, that's a muscle. And then to give, like, move up, make space for it is another muscle. And part of making space for that dream to come into reality is moving away, dusting away the things that are no longer conducive, like the past traumas that were lessons and served us up to a certain extent, and we may be ready to let them go. And with that new space, we give permission for our dream to come into reality and manifest.
Right. And that's how we get ourselves out of the way.
That's how we get ourselves out of the way.
Thank you. That's very helpful.
Thank you, Terry.